in the lobby of a big hotel in New York town one day. Sat a bunch of fellers telling yarns to pass the time away. They told of places where they'd been and different things they'd seen. And some preferred Chicago town, while others New Orleans. In the corner in an old armchair sat a man whose hair was gray. He listened to them eagerly, to what they had to say. They asked him where he'd like to be. His clear old voice did ring. I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in the spring. I see the cattle grazing o'er the hills at early morn. I see the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. I hear the broncos neighing, I hear the cowboys sing. I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in spring. They sat and listened carefully to what he had to say. They knew the old man sitting there had been a top hand in his day. They asked him for a story of his life out on the plains. Slowly he removed his hat, quietly began. I've seen 'em stampede o'er the hills till you'd think they'd never stop. And I've seen 'em run for miles and miles until their leaders drop. I was foreman of a cow ranch, oh, the calling of a king. I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in the spring. I've seen the cattle grazing o'er the hills at early morn. I see the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. I hear the broncos neighing, and I hear the cowboys sing. I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in the spring. I'd like to sleep my last long sleep with Mother Earth for bed, and my saddle for a pillow, and the bright stars overhead. Then I could hear the last stampede, the songs the rivers sing, way back down in Texas, when they round up in the spring. A group of jolly cowboys discussed their plans at ease. Says one, I'll tell you something, if you will listen please. I am an old cow puncher, here I'm dressed in rags. I used to be a tough one, I'd go out on big jags. But I have a home, boys, a good one you all know. But I have not seen it since very long ago. But I am going home, boys, once more to see them all. I'm gonna see my mother when the work is done this fall. After the roundup's over, after the shipping is done, I'm going straight back home, boys, for all my money is gone. My mother's heart is breaking, breaking for me, that's all. But with God's help I'll see her when the work is done this fall. That very night this cowboy went out to stand his guard. The night was dark and cloudy, it was storming very hard. The cattle all got frightened and rushed in wild stampede. The cowboy tried to head them while riding at full speed. While riding in the darkness, so loudly he did shout, trying his best to head them and to turn the herd about. His saddle horse did stumble, and on him he did fall, and he'll not see his mother when the work is done this fall. They picked him up so gently and laid him on a bed. The boy, he was so mangled, they thought that he was dead. He opened up his blue eyes and looking all around, he motioned for his comrades to sit near on the ground. Now send my mother my wages, the wages that I've earned, for I am so afraid, boys, the last steer I have turned. I'm going to a new range, I hear my master's call, and I'll not see my mother when the work is done